Our connection here at the Centrum has been spotty at best. Really nothing we could do about that. I mean, we did what we could. We have a computer that's plugged into the wall, and the Centrum does the rest. So you didn't really miss much. You saw Brian Sue resolving his Serum Visions, Mike Goldenberg playing a Kitchen Finks, and now Brian Sue setting up for a turn 4 combo. And the big Sasquatch, this is in Worcester, Massachusetts. The Woo, if you will.
At the DCU Center.
You know how someone from Worcester can tell that you're not from Worcester?
Just that pronunciation.
Because you call it the DCU Center, not the Centrum.
Really?
Yeah, to Worcester residents, it's the Centrum.
It's the Centrum. All right. I'm in on the...
Also, if you also want to seem like you're from Worcester, don't call it the Palladium. You have to call it the Get-Ladium. That's great, right?
I think I'll pass. I'll look like a tourist. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you, Tavathian. It seemed like a cool channel. It really did. He had about 50 subscribers. Some videos with upwards of 500 views. I'm sure he had some good matches on there. Okay, this might just be infinite damage. That said, it doesn't matter because Laboratory Maniac does not care about infinite life.
That's true. So there is that weird other aspect to what we've got going on here. Is that, and one Laboratory Maniac in me.
Yeah, exactly.
What a maniac.
Exactly. So Michael Goldenberg does get to stack his deck. He effectively gets to stack his deck with these scries.
That seems like incredibly powerful tool with what we've got going on here, right?
Zero viewers. Sick. So yeah, he's gonna stack his deck. Got to imagine he'll put a Devoted Druid on. No, not Devoted Druid on top because it won't have haste.
Walking Ballista.
But he
doesn't have infinite mana.
Right.
So you probably look through. You have 4 mana. You probably look for the best Coco that you could possibly go ahead and try to get.
There's probably some kind of Safi Eric starter combo here. Does he have a Ghost Quarter? If he had like Ghost Quarter plus like Renegade Rallier plus Sav, like I think that's probably some sort of combination. But the reality is he might not be able to kill for 2 turns. All Palladium tickets come with a free pat down. That's true. True facts. So Michael Goldenberg has an unlimited amount of life. He has stacked his deck. At least the top few cards. And now it's up to Brian Sue. How is he going to put a Lab Maniac into play and also draw a card? He basically needs to generate how much mana this turn? Like 10 mana this turn, right? Because he needs to cast Angel's Grace. He needs to cast Ad Nauseum. He needs to cast Lab Maniac. He also needs to cast a Serum Visions.
Jeez.
And to answer the questions, where do you guys plan on posting deck lists? These will go up. I'll put the top 16 decks up on mtgtop8.com. There's some. I usually only do top 8, but there were some cool decks in the top 16, so I do feel like posting all of them.
Yeah. And if anybody is interested in a full metagame breakdown, I can't promise that I will get you all the entire deck list written out, but I am more than willing to sift through some deck lists and give you totals of how many competitors do we have today?
200. Yeah, 200. Over 2.
I would be willing to assemble that if anybody was interested.
So Brian Sue just has Gemstone Mine. He just Sleight of Hands. He determines he doesn't have enough mana, perhaps. What's this? What's this? What's this? Okay, that will buy him at least a turn. And let's see what Michael Goldenberg put on top with this combo here.
Ballista.
Okay, X equals 2. Reasonable, I guess. It's amazing to me that after stacking his deck, that's the best that Mike Goldenberg can do. At least Devoted Druid seems better.
This can't be right?
Yeah, that's 6 Infect.
Weird.
Does Unlife, you go to 0, then you start getting Infect?
Correct.
Okay, so not 6 Infect.
If you do it in one combat step, you can go to a negative life total.
Right.
And you won't start accruing Infect.
Right.
So if it's all individual, say, like Walking Ballista hits, then it's just an additional 10 damage that needs to be done. So that's what I thought we were going to see. I'm somewhat surprised that we aren't, but...
So, I mean, Brian Sue can stall for a while, right? Even Angel's Grace on the crucial last attack step. Or as long as Walking Ballista is not around. Dark Slick Shores go? My God. So yeah, now if Mike Goldenberg had put Devoted Druid, he could kill his opponent right now.
Right. And it's interesting to me that we had talked about specifically that topic of, like, once you do have the Infinite Scrying, going ahead and seeking out take a look at all of your collected companies, see what's underneath them, see what the best one is, and if none of them are particularly great, if you have a fetch, you can just go ahead, fetch, shuffle, do it all over again, and see what breaks out after that. So, Michael, what have we got, sir?
Yep, there's the collected company you're talking about.
Yakking on in.
That looks like 8. Which still, I don't think isn't even enough to break into the Unlife, Infect Life. The Infect damage. So now he can collected company, get something like Nokazali Pride Mage. You get Scavenging Ooze. Maybe that would do a little something, perhaps.
There's a whole ton of interaction that Michael actually has if Brian does what he needs to do.
Yeah, the problem for Brian is that he has to put together a Lab Maniac kill through a Walking Ballista, and I don't think there's any way to draw a card at instant speed in his deck. In fact, I know there's not. So he needs to find his one Echoing Truth to bounce that Walking Ballista before he goes for Lab Maniac.
If he does have, if he's fully into it, he has his whole deck in his hand, so that Echoing Truth comes up. The question then would be, does Michael have any other interaction if that does happen? I think that answer is no.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Ad nauseum. We're doing it.
Yep, so Brian says, now is the time. I cannot wait one more turn for this Lotus Bloom to come off suspend. I must go for it now.
I will draw.
So he's now at 0, right?
Yes.
Or he's now at negative something.
Negative.
Doesn't really, as long as the Unlife stays around.
Correct. He's in a good spot.
So Mike has no way to get rid of the Unlife.
No Knight of Autumn in the main deck. No Kasali Prime Mage in the main deck. And that's been a long time Abzan Company bullet for these sorts of situations. Yep. Yes, read that Lightning Storm.
Yep, so Lightning Storm can get cast at the Walking Ballista. Lab Maniac can get played, and Serum Visions can get played. This is all going to cost 7 mana. Now, presumably he has all 4 of his Simian Spirit Guides. So this should be enough.
Yeah, start with Echoing Truth.
Echoing Truth works as well. Awesome. So Brian Sue played through this. Michael Goldenberg maybe just thought his opponent was dead. Didn't maybe stop to think about what if this game goes beyond one more turn. So Michael Goldenberg gonna fall despite having 20 million life right now. he's going to fall to Brian Sue's Laboratory Maniac.
I don't think Michael's seen it yet. He was looking at the Lightning Storm earlier, right?
Right, the Lab Maniac might be in Brian's hand.
Well, this is all his hand right now. He's drawn. Is Brian Sue just literally keeping it in the 2 face-down cards there, down there, and just gonna be like,
Yeah, that is the same zone. That'd be a pretty funny slow roll there. Interesting to me. I wonder if an adaptation in this deck going forward is to add like 1 opt instead of like a sleight of hand for 1 single instant speed way to draw a card. It probably doesn't come up often enough, but you never know.
Prism.
Okay, got a Prism. So here comes the Lab Man. There he is.
Maniac.
And
Cast.
one last spell. Here it comes.
Serum Vision.
Serum Visions. Draw a card.
Trigger.
And scoop them up. We can reset these life totals because they are scooped up. Nice job, Brian Sue, playing through it. I mean, we watched a lot of Magic today, and
He's still crisp.
he's got poise. You got to give him that. He's always had poise. As much as you can say about Brian Sue, you know, he's been around a long time. Especially back in the day, he used to rub people the wrong way sometimes. But you can say this about him. He's a great player. He's got a lot of poise. And I don't think I've seen him tilt in the last 10 years. It was pretty impressive.
Has a history?
No, I'm just saying, like, in recent memory, I cannot remember him tilting.
Right.
So I can say that about him.
You got to get it, folks. You got to get to that Zen moment in your life.
Yeah, well,
Don't be bemoaning a bad Magic tournament. Came here to have fun and play some Magic.
I remember we were like 4-3 in a PTQ back in the day. We're playing like Ravnica Limited or like Mirrodin Limited, and like I'm there. I'm having fun. I'm like goofing around. I'm like mad that I'm losing, but also goofing around. And he's just so serious, and he just wants to win so bad. Even though we're 4-3, we're not even playing for prize. He just wants to win.
What's that rating?
And he took it seriously, and yeah, just for the love of the game, you know, he just wants to win. I respect that. And he's 1 win away from winning this tournament, taking it down. So players going to go to their sideboards now. As far as Brian goes, let's see what he has against this Abzan deck. Leyline of Sanctity, I mean, could be a cheesy way to win, but you have to figure after board that your opponent's going to have a way to deal with that. I don't think leaning on that's a smart decision.
No.
You know your opponent doesn't have discard. So he's Leylines. A Slaughter Pact could break up a combo if you want to go that route. Probably wants his 1 Slaughter Pact. Probably wants his 2 Fatal Push. Bantu's Last Reckoning is pretty slow.
It's insane to me that a 3-mana Damnation is just slow.
Yeah, well, you know.
The untap.
Yeah,
I mean,
it kind of costs 6.
Right. But then as far as what Mike can be bringing in here, I see Knight of Autumn. I see Sin Collector. I see Eidolon of Rhetoric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are all pretty good. I mean, Eidolon of Rhetoric demands an immediate answer. An immediate answer.
Right.
If Brian wants to win that game.
But it almost seems like Michael has to have 2 pieces set up because Brian does go ahead and he can have an Echoing Truth and then just do the thing. But
yeah, Ad Nauseum is a resilient deck. Like, it does have ways to deal with these things, and the fact that it just gets to naturally play 4 Pact of Negation after sideboard if it wants to is pretty great. And I'm not saying this is the match he wants it in. It's not. But to have that ability to counterspell for 0 mana, to kill a creature for 0 mana, to Angel's Grace, like
Once-
a lethal flurry, combo flurry.
Once you're in that phase, it's really hard to combat it. So maybe that's what has attracted Brian to deck. Do you know if he's a long-time Ad Nauseum player, a long-time?
At least the past 6 months. I don't
Wow.
know about longer than that.
I'd be interested in what's led him down this path.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he can win one more game, we get the chance to ask him.
Absolutely. I will relinquish my seat, let him get some seat time, and we can.
Oh, me and Brian Sue go way back. I'm probably going to ask him about that Ravnica limited match. That's going to be my first question.
He's gonna be like, "Yeah, we had to win it."
I'm sure he'll remember it. That's the crazy part. I'm sure he will.
I have a tough time remembering my matches today. Come on.
All right, so Mike going to present. He does get to be on the play, and now he knows through experience that Infinite Life against this Ad Nauseum deck, not enough. Not enough. Needs to get the damage, needs to disrupt his opponent, needs to get like a Shalai plus, right? Needs
Right.
to get an Eidolon plus.
Right.
Sin Collector
Have
plus.
multiple pieces of interaction and pressure.
Right. Hard to keep a hand without a one-mana accelerator, that's for sure.
There are 7. That chance is really high when you get to those 7 dorks. Almost, I believe I've seen distribution charts that I think that nets it at about 90%. That
90%?
Yep. That
Wow.
you have a turn 1 dork.
It's almost, you don't want to go above. That's like redundant after that.
Right. Hence, I've played tons of 8-mana dork decks, and it seems like 7 has just become the de facto standard. Frank Karsten bore out the math,
Yeah, that sounds about right. So here we go. Does Michael Goldenberg keep his 7? He does.
He does.
And it's not the best start. Not the best start for Mike.
Well, if he goes turn 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Then that's
that'd be
okay. And then he will know not to put Walking Bliss next, but Devoted Druid. So Temple for Brian. Scry's at the bottom. Let's see if there's a Lotus. No Lotus Bloom. 1.
I see that 0 remedies is there.
There's not. That doesn't mean there's no Kitchen Finks coming. There are 4 in the deck.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm ready to see Infinite Life and a better scry from Michael. Oh, Fatal Push.
Push gets him out.
Yeah, I don't think he got that.
Little late. Just barely. If he caught it even a second ago, he would have been able to scry. But you know what, man?
You put it in the yard.
This is round 11 for these guys. I do not blame them. Round 11, we're going on 12 hours after this tournament started. Forget a scry. I've done it.
Hiya! And there it was.
Oh, rough beats. Rough beats.
All right, Michael.
So Brian Sue is certainly in no danger of killing his opponent on turn 3. Ad Nauseum more of a turn 4 deck.
I believe I see an Eternal Witness in Michael's hand, so that would be ideal to grab that Vizier of Remedies back.
He has the Thoughtseize, too. Very interesting.
Chew. Well,
Not the best hand.
Not good. Well,
Not after you take the Vizier. Anyway.
not after you take the Vizier, but you get to. Do we have 2 green sources for our Eternal Witness to get one back?
No, we got Plains, we got Gavany Township. So Mike Goldenberg's hand is a bit of a mess right now. Abrupt Decay is only good against Lab Maniac and Lotus Bloom and Pentad Prism, none of which Brian Sue has right now. And yeah, maybe he can hit like a Phyrexian Unlife, but then you have to keep mana up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, better to be lucky.
In the life of a golden boy. Eternal Witness, going to threaten the Infinite Life. But again, even the Infinite Life, like, yeah, you're basically putting a spell on the stack that says suspend 1, Infinite Life. Is it even going to be good enough? We'll see.
I bet you this is one of the few matchups today that Michael has not been able to just assemble these 3 cards, set a scry, and have 2 million life, and his opponent not just go, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there are a lot of decks that would scoop. A lot that wouldn't, but then again, a lot like, say, Dredge, the Goblin deck we saw.
Deck just goes, yeah.
You got me.
You got me.
These Jeskai decks can easily win with a Jace Ultimate.
Teferi Ultimate. Oh.
Teferi Ultimate, Jace Ultimate. Jund deck, though, can't really win.
No.
Humans deck can't really win. So here we go. Serum Vigilance from Brian, Gemstone Caverns. What's his plan?
Here's the Unlife.
Unlife.
Setting up.
A little curious to me that he casts it into a potential Abrupt Decay. You know your opponent has the Abrupt Decay. Speaks to me that Brian either doesn't need the Unlife or is just kind of hoping his opponent uses that, because why would he play it?
Just baiting it out.
Probably. In for 6. Brian Sue down to 8.
And
Here we go.
Infinite Catcher.
Probably. So, all right. Michael gonna stack his deck. Will he go for the Coco? Oh, he has a Gourd. Interesting.
Goodness.
Curious to see what he goes for here. This time, he has way more options in his deck. Like last time, he had little interaction. This time, he has Sin Collector. He has Eidolon. He has Shalai. He has like an Assassin's Trophy, if that's what he wants. Be interesting to see how he goes about this.
Whether he goes for a mediocre beats plan and just removes the Unlife, or excuse me, sorry, need to get that sneeze out. And that's the great part about Abzan Company and me, of like a lot of the time, like we've seen Michael go infinite. I would say a higher percentage of the time than you were used to. Just get him with this mediocre beats plan while also getting a lot of this interaction going. So let's see.
Yep, Michael says go. He does not immediately Abrupt Decay. It was tempting to immediately Abrupt Decay, but he susses it out. He says, something doesn't seem right about this. I'm just going to wait.
I don't need to, therefore I will.
Yeah.
How many impatient Magic players have ruined themselves, you know?
That's easy. Easy too.
Another gemstone from Brian Sue. Trying to play like he's unimpressed with his grip, but he has to be working with something over there.
Yeah, Pact of Negation, Angel's Grace, Ad Nauseums. You know there has to be something.
How's it going? Good.
What is Brian Sue gonna do here? Really the first time we've seen Brian Sue tank quite this long. In that long match with the 16 Sakura Tri-Builder Beats, we saw him tanking a little bit. This does seem like a decision point for him right now. He has to figure, if Michael Goldenberg is allowed to draw the best card in his deck post-sideboard, it's going to be a hateful card, like an Eidolon.
Mm-hmm. Bad things. Okay.
Spoils. All right. So Spoils the Vault, in case y'all don't know it, 1 black mana instant. You name a card, you flip until you hit that card. All other cards are exiled, and unluckily for Brian Sue, he gets the Laboratory Maniac, which, in my mind, means he probably can't win.
Yikes.
But that's what happens when you play a card like Spoils of the Vault. Like a certain, like decently high percentage of the time, it just backfires. And now, Michael Goldberg gonna go find another removal spell for the Phyrexian Unlife and lock this one up. And it looks like we might be going to a game 3. As Lightning Storm is the only way left in Brian Sue's deck to win, and Michael Goldenberg, at 200,000 million. Yeah, that's a game.
Some discrete number. That is not
right. We cannot say infinite.
Doesn't work.
I remember back when back when you could the judges were a little more fast and loose with the rules back in the day.
Just like as big as you want.
Yeah, like infinite life, whatever. But yeah, you do have to pick a number. Let's say you only do something once.
Right.
If you can only gain that life once, you have to pick a number, and then if your opponent does something infinite, they get to pick a number, and their number can be bigger than your number.
Than yours.
And they're like, it's better than yours.
That always gets awkward in the stare down. I have been on plenty of Kitchen Finks stare downs of like, and pretty much the answer is never act first.
Oh, with the red cap too? Yeah.
Yes. Because if you act first and then you're trying to out infinite one another, the first person who acted is stalling.
Really?
Yes. That
interesting. I was, okay, so you're a judge. I wanted to ask you a question about the game state of Michael Goldenberg's these past 2 games. So he had the Finks, he had the Vizier, and he had the Viscera Seer.
Yes.
Everyone always shortcuts to, I can stack my deck, right?
Yes.
But, like, they shouldn't really be able to do that, right? Like, can't you resolve the Viscera Seers 1 by 1 if you want to? If you want a particular order and like you want the rest random?
Well, you're setting everything in a particular order. When you're scrying, you never put a card out of order. It's basically you can cut to a card and then just put everything beneath it. So scries just keep the deck in order, but you can sift through it.
So because you're not truly ordering your deck.
No.
Okay.
You can say, hey, I'm scrying and going through this deck as many times, so I can cut to a part of the deck. You're never putting it out of place, but you can cut to a card and then put the rest of the cards on bottom.
Okay.
And if you are ever unclear about that, call for a judge. It is an approved tournament shortcut in this situation. That, this is a solution that works for what's going on. And if your opponent doesn't understand what's going on or doesn't want you to do it for, say, time purposes, you can call over a judge and be like, hey, can I cut my deck to where I want it to be for the sake of time?
Because, I mean, I'm sure there are some decks and interactions where, like, you could just troll a tournament and just, like, stall every game and draw every game, right? You could come up with something.
Absolutely.
You could do 4 Horsemen with like specific cards added into the combo, which make it different every time.
I remember reading a tournament report from a player that was just trying to essentially play Judge Tower and have players forget triggers on cards that they played or misplay cards so that they would get game losses. The most savage one that I've heard is one of the cards that is in one of these decks, Eidolon of Rhetoric. You cannot draw more than 1 card a turn.
You can't play more than 1 spell.
What was the...
Sure, the 3/1.
The 3/1.
Yeah.
Spirit of the Labyrinth. Turn 2, Spirit of the Labyrinth. Next turn, opponent plays a divination and draws 2 cards. Game loss.
Oh, yeah. They drew an extra card.
Remember those days? So no longer works like that.
Mike Goldberg going to be on the draw for Game 3. Brian Sue on the play. He's going to 6. Now, we saw him go to 4 and win this tournament, so I don't think he's shaken by this.
Looks like Mike is feeling a little bit of fatigue.
Yeah, a little bit. Pressure, fatigue.
Been a long day.
Yeah. I think he wanted
I
it.
am. For the people.
So here we go. Sue.
1, 2, 3,
Sue.
4, 5, 6.
6 cards. See if he can get a Lotus Bloom. He really wants a Lotus Bloom.
What's the difference in those openers? Like, how much better is the Lotus Bloom starter than the Temple of Enlightenment Go?
It's pretty
starter?
good. It's a lot better. Really, it's like
How many turns is that? Like
it's
a
3 mana, right?
Full 2 turns.
yeah, absolutely. And you figure you need 6 mana for your combo, or 3, then 5.
Man, looks like Michael is aggressively going for the. When I see turn 1 Viscera Seer, I'm thinking turn 1 Viscera Seer, turn 2 Vizier, turn 3 combo piece.
Yep, we'll see. Brian Sue, no Pentad Prism either. Really just a lack of accelerators in this match. It's been strange to see him without Lotus Bloom, without Pentad Prism.
Michael's had that advantage. Dredge spun its wheels. Adnan Nauseum is spinning its wheels.
Yep.
And
It helps
believe
to
me,
run good.
Long term, you just got to get lucky sometimes. Sometimes your opponents just sputter out. They spin their wheels. You get to take advantage. All right. Fetch.
Yeah, Forest, so we're not seeing the Vizier this time. Might see the Devoted into the Vizier.
Strange to me that he's fetching conservatively to basics.
Yeah, you got to know there's no Blood Moon. You got to know your life total really is not that relevant.
Right.
If
Split
he probably just has more land and it doesn't matter. But yeah, probably not quite optimal. At the end of the day, not a big difference.
Right. What are we aiming for? After Michael fixes his deck, looks like he came across a split sleeve.
Yeah, this could be a mana creature. This could be a Scooze. This could be a Duskwatch Recruiter. Most likely, though, it's a Devoted Druid. Got to imagine it's likely a Devoted Druid.
The other.
There's Brian Sue sitting next to longtime judge Matt Stone. These guys have to have known each other for 20 years at this point. Duskwatch really does pretty much absolutely nothing. This
Not impressive.
Unless this draw culminates in like an Eidolon of Rhetoric next turn, I
Hopefully
have to
there's some
imagine
other.
should have mulliganed,
Michael
right?
kept his 7.
Exactly.
There has to be a reason why.
Unless you like are gonna Sin Collector on turn 3, you're going to. Yeah, Sin Collector. That's about it. Eidolon. Gotta wonder what he kept. But we'll see. Brian Sue not doing a lot either.
Looks like Matt Stone is feeling the fatigue.
Yeah, it's a long day. I mean, normally this would be an old Grand Prix. Under the old system, you have to play 2 full days to win $3,000. Star City Opens, you have to play 2 full days. We're doing this in 1 day, so that these players don't have to come back tomorrow. So that we don't have to come back tomorrow. So we don't have to rent the hall.
We can
So that
we can have our Sunday.
Exactly. We can charge less to get into this tournament than a Star City Open, than a Grand Prix, by virtue of that 1 day.
And you just get to play a whole ton of Magic. I played all 8 rounds today.
Oh, yeah. I don't like to drop from these things.
Times 4 multiplier, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Invitational qualifier. If you are chasing those Planeswalker points. All right, well, here's the reason. The Sin Collector will exile his choice of a sleight of hand and 2 ad nauseum. Probably not what Michael was looking for.
Yeah, and this
Brian, for all of these draws and scries, hasn't exactly hit gold either.
no mana acceleration, no Angel's Grace, no Unlife. Interesting to me that he didn't cast the Sleight of Hand. Wonder what his reasoning is for not casting that. Maybe he wants to represent something like an Echoing Truth. Figures, well, I'm not going to use all my mana next turn anyways. Might as well hold it. More information, I get that. Looks like he immediately drew another Sleight of Hand off the top. Needs an Angel's Grace.
Maybe he scried 2 to the top with a Sleight of Hand, with a Serum Vision, doesn't want to get rid of one of those cards.
Wanted both? Yeah, that'd be a good explanation.
Did not see the scrying from Brian on the last Serum Visions, so
this anemic beatdown beginning to take its toll on Brian. I believe he's at
Ochre Beats.
Right, he's at 18. He's about to drop to 13. Really, it's not that bad. As long as Mike can add 3 power in the next 2 turns, that's a 3-turn clock.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. He'll sack his Sin Collector during the upkeep, looking for gas. He thinks, all right, this is the turn I absolutely need to find an Eidolon, to find a Chord, to find a Coco, to find something. And wow, he keeps it on top. It must be really good. Okay, it was a land. He needed a land.
Okay. Also signifies perhaps that he's really not sold on that damage plan getting him the whole way.
Right. There's that
not,
too.
Not in on the mediocre beats plan.
This is the last game of the tournament, everybody. This is the one that decides the winner. That's right.
I believe somebody made a comment earlier, but Michael's laying out of his lands is questionable.
I mean, you can do whatever you want when you're playing, but just for clarity, I mean, it's just hard to tell for us, probably for the opponent, unless you know the exact arts of the lands your opponent's playing. It's hard to tell.
Surprised nobody. I mean, in these situations, it would really be up to the opponent to have a qualm with that. But I suppose Brian knows what's going on. He's played plenty of Magic.
So here we go. End of turn.
Lillian Bender, yes, Dredge was a major component at the tournament today. Quite a few regulars seemed like they had picked up the deck, and it was a big time percentage.
So that's a chord for 3. That is
another Sin Collector.
Another Sin Collector. Okay. Interesting choice. Sin Collector instead of Eidolon. We knew that there were 2 Ad Nauseums. He decides on the Sin Collector, though. So he wants to collect the Sins. He's going to exile an instant or sorcery. And I think the reason why is because there's a 3rd Sin Collector in Mike Goldenberg's hand. And that makes sense.
Cool.
So this was Sin Collector on the stack. So 3. Start off with a Simian. Land. Spoils. Spoils is a pretty good one.
So it's 12.
Yep. And this is before the attack. So he's virtually at 8.
Land.
He's virtually at 6. Effective 6. Effective 3. Can he keep going? His hand is still terrible. He needs an Angel's Grace. Really does. Decision time for Brian Sue.
Land.
Decision time. Dead. I think I think he's dead.
So we've done some bad math. I don't think we've done bad math.
I mean, what could he possibly hit? He needs an Angel's Grace, right? But how is he possibly going to cast an Angel's Grace?
Apparently, we're just going for it.
Yeah, he's going to keep going. He's gonna die upon his sword, is Brian Sue. And handshake.
Extension of the hand.
So congratulations to Michael Goldenberg. The third Sin Collector is the one that does it.
Yeesh.
Prompts the ad nauseum. Brian Sue did not find what he was looking for. Too many Simian Spirit Guides.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty unlucky ad nauseum. Just not happy with any of the options that he had. I will go fetch Michael Goldenberg.
Yeah, sounds
bring him
good.
into the booth.
Sounds good. So that was a hell of a match, and for someone like me who often poo-poos ad nauseum, who doesn't think it's as competitive as a deck. That was pretty impressive from Brian Sue. It really was. We saw him a few times on camera, and every time he made it close, he made it competitive. It was pretty cool. But really, congrats to Michael Goldenberg, above all else. He's the one who won the tournament. He's the one who won 4 matches in a row on camera. Literally, we featured him 4 times in a row. He won all 4. All these videos will be uploaded to YouTube under the TJ Titanium Series YouTube channel. Go check that out. Also check out Mike's YouTube channel. His brother has been linking it in the chat. If you are interested in seeing more of this Abzan Coco deck in action, I know he's been playing it there. So for Brian Sue, $1,500 and a short drive home. Michael Goldenberg, first place money, and I'm not sure where he lives, so not sure what kind of drive home he's got. We're going to get Mike in the booth in just a minute. All right. We're going to be wrapping up here soon. So right before Mike gets in, I'm just going to say that if you did enjoy this tournament, consider coming to one of ours. We'd love to have you here. We have events for everybody. We fired some standards today, some commander pods, had our Legacy 1K, had our Modern 10K. Was a good event all around. But here he is, man of the hour. Come on in, Mike.
Hello.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, and you?
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You just won 4 matches in a row on camera. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a long day, so I don't want to keep you a hell of a lot of time. But tell me about this Abzan deck. You've been playing it a lot, right?
I've been toying around with Abzan Company for a while. I usually play some green-black Tarmogoyf Liliana deck, but I got tired of playing super fair.
Yep.
So I took an unfair combo deck, and I made it way more fair.
As fair as possible.
Renegade, I actually took out tons of combo pieces from Traditional and put in Renegade Ralliers, and which is just a fantastically fair, fun card. I really like Viscera Seer as a 2-of. It's kind of like the old Malira pod decks just ported to no pod. But
Yeah, it's like all your cards kind of work together, and
The
Could be
synergy
good.
the synergy level is definitely there.
exactly. So I never really saw you play with the Renegade Rallier.
that's because I was siding him out in those all those matches. Renegade Rallier is not good against goblins. It's not good against Ad Nauseum.
I have to imagine you would have kept it against Jeskai if you ever faced Jeskai.
I faced Jeskai round 1.
Okay, round 1
I
of the
won
tournament.
2-0. Renegade Rallier actually won me match 1.
Nice.
He killed Devoted Druid. Turn 3, I brought Devoted Druid back, and turn 4, I comboed off.
You lost one match the whole tournament, right?
Yes, to humans.
To humans. Is it a good matchup?
I beat
generally.
humans the following matchup.
Okay.
The following match.
Okay.
I think it's a fine matchup. I think it's 50-50. Reflector Mage is a beater. If they can Reflector Mage a combo piece, like Devoted Druid, sometimes it's better actually to just kill Devoted Druid in response, and then that way you can play a secondary one.